saying that PACAF has sent this letter around. Leaders of the base are instructed: do not use pronouns, age, race, etc. And they go on. The unauthorized examples of unauthorized language are male, female, youngest, oldest, he, she. But you're saying that was not an official communication. That has not been a directive.
That is not an official communication from the HAF. Correct.
Okay. And so your position to me is today that is not policy, and that they have not been so instructed.
That is correct.
This is a social media
policy
kerfuffle. I mean, this is not real. It's not happening.
Welcome back, everyone. You just watched that clip, and yes, you heard it correctly. We're about to see an exchange from an official Senate hearing where a U.S. Senator questions an Air Force general about how banning simple words like he and she is supposed to make America's military stronger or help win future conflicts. It almost sounds unbelievable, but that's the discussion taking place. According to the hearing, this is one of the issues drawing attention at the Pentagon. As countries like China continue expanding their military capabilities, the debate here appears to center on language instead. Senator Josh Hawley raises the questions that many viewers are likely asking themselves. Take a look at the full exchange, and afterward, we'll go through it step by step and discuss what happened.
Thank you very much. To the ranking member, and thank you, Madam Chair, and thanks to the witnesses for being here. General Stitt, let me talk with you. Let me start with you, if I could. I have spoken repeatedly with the Secretary of the Army about replacing aging homes at Fort Leonard Wood in my home state, and there is no doubt in my mind that service members deserve better than they are getting right now. I was just there a few weeks ago. I toured the homes myself. I spoke to residents. I spoke to spouses. I spoke to children who lived in the homes. These homes need to be replaced. What concerns me is the Army doesn't seem to have a plan to replace this aging housing stock. So let me just ask you this. In your opinion, how does the availability, or maybe lack of availability, of quality military housing for service members and their families affect recruiting and retention?
Senator Hawley, good afternoon. The Army takes the care and quality of life of all of our service members and their families very seriously. So we are making and committed to investing in our housing within not just that, but within our daycare centers, childcare, offering opportunities, expanding beyond that for spousal employment, to put kind of a whole package on the table to ensure that our facilities and our care and commitment towards family members is first class.
When you say a whole package, when will we be seeing this package?
Senator, we continue to work on it, and I can take that question for the record, please.
Well, that's fine. I mean, but let me just say again, for the record, I've said this in the full committee, I'll say it again here, that I think we're past the point of continuing to kick this down the road. I mean, this is a problem now. Frankly, at Fort Leonard Wood, it was a problem a decade ago. But listen, I've been there. I mean, I've seen it myself. I've talked to the service members myself. I've been in their houses. I've been in their kitchens. I looked at their bathrooms where there's mold growing. I've seen that they don't have places for their kids. I've seen the substandard living conditions, and it just isn't acceptable, General. You know what? I promised the service members that I'd be a royal pain in the you-know-what until something changed. So I'm keeping that commitment, and I'm going to continue it until something changes. And frankly, I've heard this now it's going on 2 years. I've only been in the Senate 3, but I've heard it continuously that, well, we'll get to it. Well, at Fort Leonard Wood, we haven't gotten to it. And I bet, if we went around the table here, I bet that the other members of the subcommittee would have the same situation in their state. So I'll give you the question for the record, but I just want to put on notice again, and you can take this back, that I want to see some progress on this, and I want to see it soon. And what I don't want to see are any more commitments from the Army that they're going to spend X number of dollars. This happened last year. We're going to commit X number of dollars to Fort Leonard Wood, and then as it turns out, $0 were spent on housing. I'm still ticked off about that, and I don't want to see it happen again, and I want to see progress made. So that's my piece. I think you understand where I'm coming from. General Miller, let me come to you. Can you help me with something here? Anderson Air Force Base, I understand, This is in Guam, of course. Leaders there recently received an official email that prohibited them from using pronouns or descriptors like he, she, youngest, oldest, male, or female. Why is that? I mean, what's going on?
Senator Hawley, thank you for that question. Actually, that is, we've been talking a lot about that because it was an email, from my understanding, that went out locally from one of the commanders there, and I don't remember at what level. I don't know if it was a group commander or the wing commander there. I believe that it was a Facebook post that went out based on a question. It is not the Air Force policy to not use pronouns. And so I think it was a social media, exacerbated by individuals that said that they were directed for that.
Okay, good. Well, I think that's progress. So you're saying, I'm looking at a news article here published August 31, 2022, saying that PACAF has sent this letter around. Leaders of the base are instructed, do not use pronouns, age, race, etc. And they go on. The unauthorized examples of unauthorized language are male, female, youngest, oldest, he, she. But you're saying that was not an official communication. That has not been a directive.
That is not an official communication from the HAF. Correct.
Okay. And so your position to me is today that is not policy and that they have not been so instructed.
That is correct.
This is
that
social
is not
media
policy.
kerfuffle. I mean, this is not real. It's not happening.
I don't know if it's not happening, but it is not an official policy from the Department of the Air Force.
Okay. I ask because part of the way it's been reported is that the rationale is to help with lethality and also recruiting. And it was curious as heck how not using he, she can help with lethality and how it's helping with recruiting. But I take your word for it that this is not policy, and that satisfies me. So thank you. Thank you, Madam.
All right, there's a lot to unpack here. One of the moments that stands out most is Senator Hawley's exchange with Air Force General Miller over the reported guidance about pronouns. Hawley points to an email from Anderson Air Force Base that allegedly instructed leaders to avoid words like he, she, male, and female. On its face, that raises an obvious question. Why would something like this become a focus within the military? General Miller responds by saying that the email was not official Air Force policy, but rather a local communication that gained attention online. If that's accurate, it clarifies that the guidance wasn't issued across the entire service. Even so, it still leaves people wondering why a local leader believed this was an issue worth addressing in the first place. Hawley's broader argument centers on priorities. He notes that the reported justification for the language guidance was improving lethality. And that's where he delivers what many viewers see as the key question of the hearing. How would avoiding words like he or she make the military more effective in combat? Whether people agree with his conclusion or not, that's the point he keeps returning to throughout the exchange. His position is that the military should be concentrating on readiness, training, and preparing for real-world threats, rather than internal debates over language. From that perspective, any amount of attention devoted to issues like this is attention that could instead be spent on strengthening military capabilities. That same theme appears earlier in the hearing, when Hawley questions Army leaders about the condition of military housing. Rather than discussing abstract policies, he focuses on reports of mold and deteriorating living conditions affecting service members and their families. He argues that these problems have been acknowledged before. Promises have been made, yet meaningful progress has been limited. Taken together, Hawley's questioning follows a consistent theme. He believes the military should prioritize issues that directly affect service members and national defense. Whether discussing housing conditions or language guidance, his message is that leadership should focus on problems that have a clear impact on readiness and mission effectiveness. Supporters see his approach as a demand for accountability and practical leadership, while critics may disagree with his conclusions or framing. Either way, the hearing raises a broader debate about what the military's priorities should be and how leadership should balance administrative policies with operational readiness. What do you think? Did Hawley's questions raise valid concerns about military priorities? Or do you see the situation differently? Share your thoughts in the comments.